Hey all, welcome back to the Mortal Coil, uh, and my walkthrough of the Mnemonic room on TryHackMe. This is my third attempt after many, many issues stemming from the recording process, but I am determined to make this the last. So, issues that present themselves be damned, I'm just gonna do what I can to get this done. So to get started, go ahead and spin up your machine. As you can see, I already have. And go ahead and launch your VM of choice. I'm using a local Kali install. You can use the web-based attack box or the web-based Kali offered by TryHackMe for their premium subscriptions. Those work fine, but I'm not all too much a fan. So to get going, go ahead and go to OpenVPN. I don't know why I'm telling you that. That's just local for me. Wherever you put your OVPN file is not really up to me. So OpenVPN, and then my file there. Give that a second to go. It's all started. New tab. And for organization purposes, I normally just rename these. Excuse me. So yeah, now that we got that going, I'm gonna go ahead and go to home, and I have a directory called THM, and we're just gonna make a directory for Mnemonic, and we now get started. All right, so first we need to enumerate the target machine. First, we need to find any available open ports and any or what the current port number for SSH is. So let's go ahead and just run an nmap scan. Look for version information. We'll run a T4 on that, and then when I first did this, I went through all ports, but for the sake of my sanity and your sanity as well, I'm just gonna do 1 through 1500 because, again, I don't hate myself. So let's quickly grab our IP address here and just get Notepad going. Paste that right there, just in case. All right. Now that you have that, go ahead and paste it, input it, however, and launch that. That'll take a minute, so go ahead and give that a chance to run. All right, when it finishes, we'll see that we have 3 open ports. Again, we just did 1 through 1500, but if you ran all ports, you get the same result regardless. So on port 21, we have FTP, port 80, HTTP. However, for SSH, it's actually running on port 1337 and not 22. So we have 3 open ports, and SSH is running on 1337. Next, what is the name of the secret file? So, concerning that, we do have both FTP and HTTP running as a service on the target, but for simplicity's sake, let's just go ahead and check HTTP first. Go ahead and launch Firefox, get it going. All right, we can see on this page there's nothing really of substance. If we go ahead and check it over here, yep, just a single header. So that's not really useful to us, but we can run GoBuster to determine if there's any resources on that server running on HTTP that could be useful to us. So go ahead and use whichever word list you want to run. Normally, I run. Give me a second. The 2 to 3. So that shouldn't take super long, but it will take a good minute. So give that a chance to run. You can find the one I'm going to use in the Durbuster directory listing here. Perfect. All right. Remember to specify the URL. Oh, forgot. I copied that instead. That was not intentional. Let me grab that. Actually, sometimes I'll just make mistakes. That's chill. And you don't have to, but you can increase the thread count. I'll make it go a little bit faster. And give that a chance to run. You can find immediately we have a hit on the webmasters directory. Hit that. Nothing there. As you can see here. But we can recursively go through our target. So let's go ahead and go through webmasters. See if that has any hits. So give that a chance to run. First, immediately we have a hit on /admin. So let's go ahead and look at that. And similarly, seems to be nothing here. It's another directory. So go ahead and keep letting this run for a hot minute until you have any other hits. After letting that go for a little bit more, we can see another pretty juicy looking area /backups. I won't copy that just in case because I am bound to forget that that's there. And obviously, again, just another directory, but this is pretty interesting. So now let's run GoBuster again on backups. But now we're actually looking for a resource, an actual backup. So it could be useful, and you will probably run the X switch to look for zip files or however a backup would be stored on a server if you have knowledge of it. This is just how I went through it, as I assumed this is how a backup would be stored, just for CTF. So let that run. This will probably take a good couple minutes, so just let that go until you get a hit. All right, so allowing that to run for a little bit, we find we actually now finally have a resource we can grab, backups.zip. Now, you can keep letting this go, see if you can find any other hits, but again, I value my own sanity and yours, so I can tell you that that's really all you're looking for. So let's make a loot directory. Let's use wget to grab that file. So that's in webmasters /backups/backups.zip. Grabs it and boom. So quickly let's move backups.zip into loot. Change directories into loot. All right, so now we should probably just go ahead and unzip that. It says that there is a password. So let's just see if we can get away with not inputting one. Looks like the one file in there will not get to us because we actually don't have that password. So let's go ahead and remove that. And now what we'll want to do is we'll run zip to John. See if we can break into this thing. So zip to John on backups.zip, and we'll output that to just backups hash.text. Nice. So now, easy as that, just run John on backups hash.text. And you can use whatever word list you want. But for most CTFs and the like, rock use just gonna cut it. But if you see here, again, I've done the CTF already, so instead of running this command for me, again, not for you, use the show option, and in the john.pot file, we'll display that the password discovered instead was 00385 007. So let's try that again. We're going to unzip backups.zip, and instead we'll use 00385 007 as our password. Nice. Let's go ahead and change into that directory, and note.txt is there, so let's concatenate that to standard out. We find our message, James, new FTP username, FTP user. We have to work hard. Nice. So again, that secret file was backups.zip. If we move to our credentials task, it's asking us to find the FTP username, which, as we now have discovered, is FTP user. All right, so now we are going to want to go and look through that FTP service. So let's go ahead and back out, back to our primary directory we're working from. And, well, first let's actually see if anonymous login is enabled. So I'm going to launch up Metasploit, give that a second. All right, so now that Metasploit is launched, we're going to use the anonymous login module. So auxiliary scanner TP anonymous. Nice. All right, show options. It is running on port 21. We can just keep it at one thread. It's honestly not going to take that long. But we will want to set our hosts to our target address. Nice. Let's go ahead and just run that. Hello. All right. So Hughes is being weird, so I just Hughes. I just figured it out now. I did Hughes instead of run. That was very very foolish of me. So I just ran exploit. And you can see here, scan one hosts, auxiliary module execution completed. Looks like anonymous login is unfortunately not something we can run here. So we'll just forgo doing that for now. Instead, however, we do want to try and figure out what the password is. So we know we cannot do anonymous login, and we know we need a password to authenticate. But what we do know is the username for one FTP user available to us is FTP user. So instead of trying an anonymous login, let's go ahead and use an online password cracking tool like Hydra. So to get that going, just run Hydra tac L. Our user is FTP user. Our password list, we're again just gonna opt to go for RockU because I care about my sanity, and we're running that on our target. So give that a minute to go. That shouldn't take super long, but it will take a little bit of time. All right, now that that's done, we can find our FTP user's password is love forever. Let's go ahead and make a quick note of that. Say creds FTP user love forever. So now go ahead and FTP into our target. Nice. FTP user. Specify password love forever. Easy. So if we go ahead and list everything here, we have 10 directories, as you can see here, that we need to go ahead and go through. If you want, what you can do is you can just do recursive wget on your local machine to grab everything, but I don't care that much. But as you can see here in data 4, we have 4 items listed in there. So let's go ahead and change to data 4 and see what's in here. All right, so we have not.text and ID RSA. So we have an SSH key in here. So we're probably actually going to want to go ahead and grab that from our local machine and put that into loot. As you can see here, we're back in my loot directory. So let's go ahead and just wget that. So go to FTP. Remember our FTP user's credentials, love forever. And we're grabbing from /data 4. And we're grabbing not.text. That's one resource. Is that right? Yep. And ID RSA. Check it out. Nice. In loot, we have ID RSA, ID RSA and not.text. Awesome. So that should realistically actually be all that we really need from ID or from the FTP service. So we can go ahead and just exit out of that. And we don't really need to touch that again. So if we concatenate not.text to standard out, you can see James change FTP user password. Well, looks like he was too late. But if we go ahead and look at ID RSA, we have an RSA private key, but it is encrypted. So we are instead now going to have to use John again. This shouldn't actually take too long. Instead, what you'll want to do is, where is it? Oh, right, okay. Excuse me, sorry, I forgot. It was in Hughes. You'll want to use a utility called SSH to John again to make it, to get the hash in a format that we can crack with John. So go to user share John SSH to John.py on our IDRSA file we have here, and just go ahead and put that in RSA hash.txt. Give that a minute. RSA hash.txt. Nice. So easy. Once again, just run John on RSA hash.txt. Hughes rocku. Oh, no tab completion for that. Let that run. Again, I've done this before. Forgot. So just run show john.pot file, and it looks like the password is blue love. Easy peasy. All right, now next step is to actually use SSH to access our target. Actually, quickly, let me. I can just do it from here. We'll make this our shell session. Sometimes I like to make these ones green. I'll just move that back here. We use SSH. Again, you want to specify that RSA file or that key file, yeah. And a good guess for user is James, as we've seen him referenced twice now. So first of all, he's going to be our first go. We're going to try him, see if that gets us anything. And remember, we're using port 1337 instead of 22. So you will need to specify that. Go ahead and run it. Yes. Second. And again, his password is blue love. That's what you discovered earlier. And boom. All right. So looks like access to James's home directory. My James. Yep. ID 1001 James. GID of 1001. All right. So we have in James's home directory 2 files. We have 6450.txt and note4james.txt. And oops, broadcast message from root at Mnemonic. IPS IDS system on. Unauthorized access was detected. Ah, I see. Okay. Quick thing to very simple way around that. Go ahead and just run the bash command immediately when you log in. Blue love. And then see if I am. Okay, cool. Yeah, that should totally just get you around that and will be not very annoying. Would be nice to have a better shell though, so you can go ahead and use Python to do that. Let's quickly see which Python 3. Okay, Python 3 is enabled, so let's go ahead and Python 3 tax C import the pty utility module pty.spawn, and we'll get bin bash /bin/bash. Then that should nice. Not a great shell. Don't need to make it any more stable. This should work for our purposes for the time being, so no need to worry about that all too much. So let's go ahead and just look at what is available to us. So we have one file named 6450.txt. Let's go ahead and give that a look. 6450.txt. We have a series of integers, it seems. And then let's go ahead and look at note4james. It says, at Vilt, James, I found a new encryption image based name is Mnemonic. I created the Condor password. Don't forget the beers on Saturday. Note that It's not all too egregious, but there is some uh, funky English found throughout the CTF. It shouldn't really disrupt or interfere with anything, but it is unfortunately part of it. It's not all too much of a problem. Let's go ahead and quickly grab these files, and then let's go to loot, put them on our local machine. Uh, you don't have to do this part, really. It's not necessary. I like to do this just kind of for documentation purposes. So use the SCP utility. Remember, we're using port 1337, James at that host. And then we're looking for home James 6450.txt. And we're going to put that just here. Give that a second. Blue love is James's password. Nice. And we'll do the same thing for note for James. Let's get that going. Give that a second. Blue love. And nice. So we have both these files now available to us on our local machine. Not necessarily a step you need to take, but it is helpful. So let's go ahead and look at those files again. So, note for James. James, I found a new encryption image-based name is Mnemonic. All right, so this indicates a couple things for us. What we have here is a file that is telling James that we have another user, Condor, on the system, which we can verify if we quickly... Did I? Oops. Want to give that a second. My apologies. Just let that load. Yeah, I'm already there. I'm not going to put the shell up again. I don't care all too much at the moment to do that. This should be fine just for the purposes of what I need to show. And right here, if we go back to home, as you can see, printing working directory, home, we have Condor as a user on the system. Beyond that, we are finding James. I found a new encryption image-based name is Mnemonic. So again, the broken English makes this a little hard to parse. It took me a good minute to kind of figure out what was going on. So it says encryption image-based name is Mnemonic. So all I really needed to do was put some of these pieces together to fully realize what we're working with. So if you just look up, put some of these words together, right? So mnemonic. We know mnemonic is important not just because of the name of the CTF, but because of this note that was left for James. So mnemonic is something that is going to be recurring likely throughout the rest of this CTF. So let's go ahead and search mnemonic. And we know it has something to do with image encryption. So let's just go ahead and do plus encryption. Nice. And we have a GitHub repo right here, mnemonic cryptography. Yep, mnemonic is image-based encryption. How is it working? User is adding a picture, anything can happen, and mnemonic, it takes the pixel values of the entered image and calculates it, creates a special access code from the picture. So, if you can somehow, get one of the Pentagon's top cryptologists out here and figure out what that means, that'd be great. My best interpretation of this is that it is vaguely involving steganography. So this seems to be what is being talked about via a couple of context clues, primarily that its name is mnemonic and that it has a similar level of unreadable English. So let's go ahead and grab this repo, and we'll go back actually, and we'll clone that repository. Give that a second. Nice. And yeah, cd into mnemonic. Yep, we have everything there. And if we check this, you'll need these modules to get it working. I already have all of these installed. Just use pip to get them going. So to run this project, you just invoke Python 3 and then the name of the primary script, which is mnemonic.py. And so can't really see all too well. Let's get a closer look. So what you seem to do is you input a file path as it brings you a console, and that will be the image. And so after it detects that an image is existent and is actually readable, you can choose to either encrypt or decrypt. So this seems to be again a steganography tool. Um, and it says that after running it, it creates a special access code from the data in the file, which is a picture. So that seems to me that it is a steganography tool. So this should come in handy in a minute. You won't need this yet, but it's good to have, and it's good that we have it now. All right, so back in our shell, we should go ahead and list again the name of users we have. Again, we have Alex, Condor, FTP, User, James, Jeff, John, Mike, and Bill. Condor is a user that seems to be mentioned pretty frequently throughout the CTF, so let's see if we can access their directory. Permission denied. Let's see if we can list anything from there. We can. We just can't access them. So we have 2 resources returned, and their names seem to be encoded in base 64. So let's go ahead and grab these. Let's echo. Oop, oh no. No. Did it again. Okay, hang on. Let's see if that works. Ah! One sec. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead, once again, list the contents of Condor's directory, their home directory, and we'll actually, let's just do this here so we have tab completion. So we'll echo this, and it's probably base 64 encoded, so let's just go ahead and decode that. And that gives us a link. So let's copy that. Let's just quickly put that there. And let's go ahead and look up this image. Yep. So we have an image here of Kevin Mitnick. It is a very lovingly cringe image. But this is probably has something to do much with our steganography tool that we have obtained from GitHub. So let's go ahead and actually quickly wget that resource. Just put it in the Mnemonic folder. We're going to delete it later anyway. It doesn't matter how you organize it. Let's quickly invoke Python 3, mnemonic.py. Oh, actually, let me quickly. It's called maxres default. Okay, Python 3, and it should just read from here. Maxres default dot JPEG. Nice. So it notes that the file does exist, and it is readable. So we want to decrypt this, I think. Remember, as we have in our other directory, or in our loot directory, we have this file with a series of numbers in it. So let's go ahead and run that. 2 says encrypt message file path. Please enter the file path. So /home /Kali /thm /mnemonic, I believe. Yep. Mnemonic loot. It's called 6450.txt. Please give that a second, and boom. Nice. It looks like this would be a password. Pacific Bell 1981. Quickly keep note of that. Creds. We don't know which user necessarily this is associated with yet, but let's quickly try Condor. And their password was Pacific Bell 1981. Perfect. we have successfully logged in as Condor, it seems. So let's go ahead and add that Condor with their password. And as you can see, we'll go to Condor and we have access to their home directory. So if we come back to TryHackMe, as you can see, remember, our FTP password was love forever. Their username that we successfully logged in with was James. James's password was BlueLove, as we discovered through Hydra. And what is the Condor password? We just found out is Pacific Bell 1981. All right, finally, let's get into the last of it. Task 4, hack the machine. Answer the questions below, user.text and root.text. So these are just going to end up being flags. So let's go ahead and head back to our shell session. And let's list again. So we actually didn't yet determine what this file was. So let's go ahead and do that. Quickly echo this. Oh, we shouldn't. We actually don't need to do that. And remember, it's base64 encoded, so base64.d. Oh, I see what I did. One sec. So instead of just blankly pasting it in, you do want to make sure that you have all of the unnecessary characters surrounding your actual base64 encoded string. You want to remove those and just have it only be single quotes or double quotes, both work. Pipe it and decode it. You will find our first flag, THM, that long series of characters, and that is actually our first flag for user.text. So this is not user.text. This was not found in user.text. So this probably just a sort of miscommunication or mistranslation. As again, it doesn't seem like this room was developed by someone whose native language was English. But as long as you took the effort to decode decode this base64 encoded string, you'll find that this actually is our first flag. All right, so finally, our very last task. We need to find the flag hidden in root.text. So my first instinct was that that is probably actually located in the root directory, but fortunately, Canon Open Directory permission denied. So let's go ahead and look at our permissions as Condor. Let's grab this password. Just paste it in there. So looks like we have and reset path, and down here, user Condor may run the following commands on Mnemonic: user/bin /python3, just invoking python3 /bin example code.py. That seems kind of funky. So let's just go ahead, give that a shot. Let us quickly actually do one more thing. Are we? We can just go ahead and enter and get out. We'll go back to loot, and we'll use SCP again to actually grab this .py file, this example code.py. So let's quickly use SCP TAC P1337 Condor. Actually, here's what we can do. We just do that. Yep. Condor. There, it's slash. Actually, no, it's not slash user. It's just slash bin slash example code dot py, I believe. Let's quickly double check that. Slash bin slash example code dot py. Perfect. And just copy that straight here. Pacific Condor's password should still be right there. Nice. So we have example code dot py. Before we actually run this file or this script, I think it'd be a pretty good idea to go ahead and see what it's actually doing. So you can use a text editor of choice. I just use Sublime because it's easy. It's nice, and we don't have to worry about going through BIM or Vim. Apologies, and make it unnecessarily slow. So we go down here, info while true. It is looking for one of 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 5, 6. So it's looking for one of 7 options from the user. So let's go ahead and actually go back to our workspace on SSH. Let's actually run this command. We'll want to run it as sudo though, just in case it needs any permissions. And root permissions is that. Nice. So it's running. Give that a second to go. Yep, we have one of 7 options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. It says network connections, show ifconfig, show IP route, show srelease. Root shell spawn looks pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and go back to our text editor. It says, what is 5 doing? It should be spawning a root shell. It says time.sleep print system rebooting. Oh, all right. So actually what it's doing is os.system command shutdown now. So it actually will shut down the target system, which we don't want. That does nothing for us. So if we keep looking down any of number of these options, we actually see that 0 here, what it normally says it does is it just exits the program. And if we choose that, select 0, it says, are you sure you want to quit? Yes. So you can say, excuse me, yes or Y, and it will actually exit the program. However, if your input is actually just a single dot, a single period as your character, instead, it will actually use that as an input that will run on the shell. So if we say period, for example, let us go for something a little funky. Let's just say we want to run a bash shell. And remember, we're running this file with root privileges. So this command that is being sent to the shell will actually be run as root. And we have successfully actually just logged in as root. So if we check ID, everything 0. Yep, root, root. Awesome. So we just quickly change directories to /root, list everything. We can actually go ahead and concatenate that standard out. It says THM, congratulations, you made it, hash me. So initially, I very childishly just didn't care and input that flag as the flag for root.txt. That is incorrect, and in fact, those instructions do actually desire to be followed. So this is really, really simple, but easy to miss if you're as foolish as me. So go ahead and use printf, the printf utility, to print this console. Congratulations, you made it. Hash me. So what you can do here is you can enumerate through a number of hashing algorithms. This is really easy to automate if you want to. You don't even have to use the bash shell, obviously, or Z shell. You can use an online utility. You can use a utility of your own. You can just script it in bash if you want to. But I just did what I felt was most likely, and I just grabbed the MD5 sum of that. So if you copy that, you actually do successfully run an MD5 hash on the string found within the brackets of the flag. Your actual full flag is THM, and the MD5 hash of congratulations, you made it, hash me. So there you go. That is the mnemonic room on TryHackMe. Hopefully that was as clear as could be. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll do what I can to respond in a way that makes it less ambiguous.